Okay, so today we are going to talk about news reports. News reports are written so the reader can learn about an event that happened in the past. You will need to write a news report on the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test, which you will write in grade 10. Now, on the screen right now, you'll see a copy of a past literacy test, and this is the section where writing a news report occurs. So take a look at it. You'll see that it has the task, the purpose and audience, and the length. And then there's a headline and a picture that goes along with the news report. And then you are expected to write your news report after that. Okay, now let's go to the Prezi here. All right, here's your introduction to news report writing. News reports are written so that the reader can stop reading at any time and still come away with the whole story. The basic aim of the news report is to inform the reader about the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how of an event. This is very different from other forms of writing, which presume the reader will stick around to the end. That's not the case with news report writing. The best way to start a news report is to simply choose your event and then quickly brainstorm the 5 W's and the H. Okay, let's get to that. So the first thing I do when I'm writing a news report is I quickly write down who, what, when, where, why, how, and quotes. And then I fill those things in. So here you'll see the event is the Can Castle. The who are the students at JMSS. Then you'll see the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, and I have 3 different quotes I'm going to use. I'm going to use a quote from Jane Doe, who's the president of the Student Council, a quote from Mrs. Bradshaw, who's the principal, and a quote from a student named John Smith. That's all I need to do for my brainstorming. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to talk about understanding news report format. Okay, let's take a look. So here's a sample news report. And the first thing we're going to start with is the headline. So where my cursor is moving right now, this is the headline or the title, but in a news report it's called a headline. Castle of Cans goes up at JMSS. The headline conveys the general message in however many words will fit in the small space allotted. So if a newspaper editor only has room for, say, 3 words, then your headline has to be 3 words in length. A headline can be clever or it can be informational. On the literacy test, the headline and the picture of the event is provided to you. In the news report that you will write for this unit, for the layered curriculum unit, you will provide me with the headline. All right. Next, you'll see the byline, and in this particular news report, it's right here, by Mac Brown. The byline is the line which tells the reader who wrote the story. Thus, it's called the byline. The first paragraph of a news report is called the lead, and that's what we have right here. This is our lead. This is the first sentence of the report and arguably the most important. Based on the content of the first sentence, a reader will either look deeper into the story or move on to the next one. Therefore, how you craft your lead is very important. You'll notice in this lead that there are 5 W's that occur here. We have the when, which is yesterday, the what, which is building up a can castle, the who, students, the where, at JMSS, John McGregor Secondary School, and the Y for local food bank. Basic leads try to answer the 5 W's and the 1 H in one sentence. The lead does not have to include the H or even the Y. Those can be revealed in the second paragraph of the news report. All right, let's go to the second. All right, so right here, this is the second paragraph of the news report. In this paragraph, you simply give more details about the event. So in this case, I give more details about what happened in the gymnasium during period 4 on Friday, how the winning team, Mr. Orr's homeroom, built a can castle out of cans that they had collected over a 1-week period. All right, the next thing that I want to show you are paragraphs 3, 4, and 5, and that's the part here that's in gray on your screen. So I'm going to give you a minute just to read it over, and then I'm going to talk for a minute about it. Okay, so there you have paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you'll see in these paragraphs that 2 things happen. They combine more details about the event with direct quotes from witnesses or participants in the event. Let's talk a minute about direct quotes. Quotes breathe life into a news report. Quotes are statements or ideas that are written in your report and reflect, word for word, something said by a witness or participant in the event you are covering. The writer uses quotation marks to indicate that it is indeed a direct quote. Use quotation marks carefully and don't overuse them. Let me give you an example. Don't quote material that simply isn't newsworthy. For example, don't quote facts. So don't say, the students arrived at the gym at 9 a.m. and put that in quotes. That should just be a fact. If that's a fact, then you can just write it into your story. Do quote opinions. So you'll see in this particular story, if you look down here, Mrs. Bradshaw's opinion is right here. And because it's her opinion, it's in direct quotes. Again, you only use quotation marks when you are quoting something said, word for word, by a witness or someone involved in the event. In your news report, you should use at least 3 quotes from witnesses or participants in the event you are covering. All right, so let's talk for a minute about structure. The inverted pyramid. In a news report, it's important to get the most important information up to the top of the pyramid or to the top of the report. So if you look at this structure here, this represents the news report structure. The structure refers to the decreasing importance of information in subsequent paragraphs. So the top of the news story is where the most newsworthy info occurs, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Underneath that, you have important details, and then at the bottom of the news story, you have other general information and the least important information. You have to note that a reader will often stop reading a news report after, say, even a few paragraphs. So it's important they have a good grasp of the report by that time. Put the least important information at the end of the report, but most importantly, leave the unimportant information out altogether. A news report has to be as concise as possible. Okay, let's go back to our news report and take a quick look at the last paragraph. All right, when you read this paragraph, it says the cans will be delivered to the food bank on Monday. The delivery will be just on time as the food bank will use the cans from this food drive and other food drives to put their holiday food baskets together. The last paragraph is a good place to tell your reader what will happen next. So it's just a very, very quick paragraph that quickly explains what will happen next in reference to the event that you're covering. Okay, what I want to do now is I just want to talk about length of paragraphs. As we went through this, you've probably noticed that paragraphs in a news report are much different than the regular paragraphs you've been writing in this class, and are much different than paragraphs within, say, an essay. In a news report, the structure of the paragraphs is completely different. You keep your paragraphs short. And by short, I mean 1 sentence to 3 sentences at most. The idea is to make your paragraphs and each of your points as concise as possible. Readers, when they're reading newspapers anyway, grow tired of big blocks of text, so it's best to break it up a bit. All right, so there's a quick look at an example of a news report. If you want to pause this at any time and just read the news report over, please feel free to go ahead. All right, now we're going to go up here. Let's talk about objectivity versus opinion, because this is very important in news report writing. Your readers are not interested in your opinion, so keep yourself out of the report. News reports are not editorials. Editorials are found in a specific section of a newspaper. You are not writing an editorial, you are writing a news report which only reports the facts. Attribute every claim or opinion you report to someone else because they're not your opinions, and you do that through your direct quotes. Don't editorialize. You must attempt to stay objective in a news report. This is what we call objectivity. So when it's objectivity versus opinion, objectivity always wins out in the news report. Okay, now put yourself in the role of a reporter. You are a reporter for the Zoo Daily. Choose an event from the novel that is newsworthy and report on it. This is going to require a little bit of creativity in that you have to pretend that you have interviewed witnesses or participants in the event. You're going to write a news report on that event as if you were the reporter and you were there and you talked to individuals that were also there. Have fun.